Welcome to Butterflies of Wisdom, everyone. And if you don't know EO Fire, go stop and go search EO Fire, because not only do you have me, you have the fabulous JLD with me, aka John Lee Dumas, who used to live in San Diego, now lives in glorious Puerto Rico, Lucky Duck, and he and his girlfriend Kate run a fabulous podcast called EO Fire. So before you listen to this interview, stop and just go search for it in all your favorite podcasting apps. So John, I am going to ask you, because you've shared this story a million times, how EO Fire got started. What was your vision for EO Fire when you first started it?
So my vision was to bring a story of the world's most successful entrepreneurs to my listeners 7 days a week. So I knew from past episodes that I had listened to that I got so much out of hearing of the stories of successful entrepreneurs, but I couldn't find a show that was doing it consistently, and I definitely was not finding a show that was doing it 7 days a week. So I said, hey, why not be the person that brings this show to the world, a daily show, interviewing a successful entrepreneur, having them walk through their journey, their ups, their downs, their aha moments, their worst moments, and really sharing that story with a listenership, with an audience. And so that's when I launched EO Fire back in 2012. That was my mission. That was my vision. And then here, you and I are talking now, 5 years later, 1,700 episodes later, over 46 million listens to date of the show, over 1.5 million listens per month, and a business that's generating multiple seven figures of revenue every single year. So it's been quite the journey, and I'm glad to be sitting here with you today, and looking forward to our chat.
I am too, and quite frankly, if you hear a little nervousness in my voice, that's who I'm talking to. Makes me nervous. Of course, I have interviewed the Dave Jackson of the School of Podcasting too, and he made me less nervous than talking to you, John. So it's just a little bit of shakiness in my voice. That's why, because John Lee Dumas is doing something right.
Robin Rosenberger?
He's just doing something right, and I apologize. I'm just going to, John, you answer my next question. I'm just going to do text my next guest and put on hold so you and I talk. I apologize for that, John. And so, John, if you're still there, what would you like to say to all your new fan base?
Well, I'd like to say this. Everything changed for me when I heard this quote by Albert Einstein, which was, try not to become a person of success, but rather become a person of value. And the problem is that I had spent most of my life trying to become this person of value, of success, and I hadn't achieved success, and I hadn't achieved happiness, so nothing was working. But when I flipped it all on its head, and I said, you know what, I think this guy Albert Einstein might have something that I don't have, maybe a little experience, maybe a little knowledge in the real world. Why don't I listen to him in this quote and actually just try to become a person of value? That's when everything changed. So I went from chasing success to just creating a free, valuable, and consistent podcast, which is EO Fire. And that's when my success found me. So for anybody out there that's going through the same struggles that I went through, that's my words of wisdom right now, is just saying, hey, what can you do to become a person of value first and foremost? That is going to be your path to success.
So what you're saying is just don't pick your niche, be of value.
Exactly.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get at. Because you know this. A million podcasters are trying to copy the famous JLD. And it's like about to drive you nuts, I know it is, because everyone wants to name their podcast something EO Fire. And it's like, enough with the EO Fires. So be consistent, be of value to your listeners, and don't kick your neck.
Love it.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you. I knew that would get you. And so, John, what questions do you have for me, if any? And how can I learn from you?
Well, here's a question for you. Why do you like the medium of podcasting?
Well, okay. No, I'm kidding. I like the medium of podcasting because, as you know, we're reaching global citizens that we couldn't reach with our books, and we couldn't reach with any other medium that I know of. I mean, I have people in Japan listening to my podcast, and I have people in Africa learning about disabilities. And so I believe that we're on a global medium that not everyone has got yet, but you and I have certainly got it. So that's what drove me to the podcasting medium.
Love that. Love that. Love that. And that's one thing that I love about podcasting too, is it really just gives us an opportunity to get our voices in front of people that want to listen to us. When I see a listen on my show, that means that somebody went, found my podcast, decided to press the play button and listen. And that's meaningful. You know, that's a compliment that I think a lot of people don't recognize, that, you know, when you get 100 listens of your podcast, that's not something to hang your head about. That's to say, wow, 100 people decided to press the play button on my show. That's something special and something that I think people should really think about. So let me ask you this next question is, what do you think the best ways to monetize a podcast are?
Oh, God. What do I think the best ways to monetize a podcast? Well, I hate to burst your bubble with the king of podcasting here, but people need to knock it off with the Patreon account. People need to knock it off with the Patreon account. People just need to go out and ask if people will sponsor their podcast. I did that. I know you did that. And this Patreon account drives me nuts. Follow me on Patreon. Support my Patreon account. And so people just need to ask other people. I think that they have a fear of asking other people.
Okay, so that's what you don't like about monetizing. What do you like about monetizing?
What do I like about monetizing? Well, I like that little old me has a sponsor because of me asking, but I like to empower people, or try to empower people with my sponsors.
Nice. Very cool. Well, those are all my questions. Thank you for answering them.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you for asking me. And where can people find you? Of course, if they Google EOFire, I know you pop up. So where can people find you, and where can people find the famous Freedom Journal and the Mastery Journal?
Well, all the magic for us happens at eofire.com. We have a lot of free courses there. Both journals that you mentioned are there as well. So thank you for asking, and eofire.com is the place to be.
eofire.com is the place to be. And I appreciate your time, John. I truly do. And enjoy the sun in Puerto Rico, Lucky Duck. You've moved to a beautiful island, and you deserve it after building up an extraordinary podcast. Not only that, an extraordinary company. And I just am honored and tickled to think that you said yes to little of me, and we finally made this happen. And I hope you guys enjoyed another fabulous episode. Thanks to you guys.
Thanks. Bye.